Welcome, and thank you for connecting with students to share your expertise. We would like to share a few tips and tricks for making your connection successful. What to wear. Inspired Classroom asks that you plan on wearing a dark shirt. Please avoid wearing green or highly patterned shirts. When you are in our green screen studio, you will disappear and become just a floating head on the screen. If you are video conferencing from a remote location that does not have green screen technology, such as your office or home, color will not matter, but solids tend to look better. Regardless of where you are, please do not wear clothing with inappropriate language or logos. We ask that you wear clothing appropriate for business meetings or an interview. Where to stand. X marks the spot. In our studio, you will find a taped box on the ground. Please try to stay within the boundary of this box. The X inside the box is a good place to stand. If you are video conferencing from a remote location, make sure your camera is pointed away from a window or a direct light source, so you are not backlit. Also, make sure anything that will be seen on camera is student appropriate. Please don't hide. Standing halfway off the screen is extremely distracting, and hiding for the entirety of the connection will create barriers between you and the students. Pointing and gesturing. We encourage both pointing and gesturing. It adds to the interactivity when you are in the studio and pointing to a slide behind you, such as a place on a map. Step to the edge of the taped box and point to the center of the screen. From a remote location, after you have shown a map or an image, please come back on the screen for further discussion. Presets and props. We have the technology to look at objects or props up close and moving the camera to a desired location within the room. If you plan on using props, please send us a list ahead of time and we will preset the camera to automatically zoom in on these objects. If you are video conferencing from a remote location, practice sharing and showing objects or slides ahead of time so you understand your parameters. Interactivity. The most successful video conferences are interactive. Remember, this video conference is in real time. The students can both see, hear, and speak to you. When creating your presentation, try to build in questions for the students and pauses to let the students ask questions. Students stay more engaged when they are asked questions and interact with the presenter throughout the program. Sharing your experiences. Your experiences are interesting to students. Inspired Classroom often says that we are in the business of storytelling. Every person has a story to tell, and you are here to tell your story. Come prepared with a few of your favorite anecdotes to share. Length of the presentation. Good rule of thumb. If you have an hour for your program, plan on filling 20 to 30 minutes with talking and the rest for dialogue and questions. Now that we have talked a little bit about delivering an inspired classroom presentation to students, let's talk about how to build one. Images. Please use high-resolution pictures and videos that will fill the frame. If your pictures look grainy or pixelated when your presentation is in full screen mode, try to find a different picture. Words, 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 not so many words. A picture says 1,000 words. Reading from your slide is a sure way to lose audience engagement. Use as few words as possible. If you need to make a point or want students to remember specifics, please provide a notes page. Occasionally, sharing data and key quotes are appropriate. Remember to position your words at the top of the screen or to one side. Otherwise, if you are presenting from our studio, you will cover up the words with your body. Fancy formatting and picture placement. Don't worry about fancy formatting. We recommend that images fill the entire screen. A collage of images is okay. However, they will come across small and students will not be able to see details very clearly. Questions. Allow time for questions during the program. Plan to stop, ask questions, and let students ask questions. If it is helpful, come up with question prompts before and include markers in your presentation to remind you to stop and engage with students. Graphs and maps. Graphs and maps are helpful to prove points. The key is to remember that you will be in front of the graph or map so think about how you can move to one side to show different features. Thank you for connecting with students. Real-world learning is such an important part of education. Please reach out to Inspired Classroom if you have any questions.